Hey guys, if you're thinking about moving to Henderson, Nevada, which is just outside of Las Vegas, then you're at the right video. In today's video, I'm going to be covering all of the pros and cons about living in Henderson, Nevada. We're going to talk about schools, we're going to talk about drive times, employment opportunities, and a whole bunch of other stuff, guys. So if that's what you're looking for, then stay tuned, because after this video, you should have a great idea of whether or not Henderson, Nevada is the place for you to live. So stay tuned, guys, because we're getting after it right now. Welcome back to the channel, Living in Las Vegas, where I talk about Las Vegas, moving to Las Vegas real estate, and a whole bunch of other stuff, guys. My name's Tom, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of living in Henderson, Nevada. Now, for those of you that don't already know, Henderson, Nevada is a smaller city in the Las Vegas metro that sits to the far southeast of Las Vegas. So I'll probably throw up a little photo on the screen to just kind of show you exactly where it is in case you don't already know. But Henderson is a really popular area to live for a lot of reasons, but it has its pros, it has its cons, just like any other city. So in today's video, we're going to talk all about those pros and cons, and that way by the end of the video, you'll have a great idea of whether living in Henderson is for you or not. So I already showed you where it is, so let's jump right into the first pro of living in Henderson, Nevada. That first pro, guys, is going to be absolutely one of the most important, and that is it's quiet and it's isolated. Since Henderson sits to the southeast, very near like the Arizona border, between Las Vegas and Arizona, or between Las Vegas and Boulder City, Nevada, which is a town even more to the southeast of Las Vegas. Since Henderson sits out of the way, it is far from the Strip, it's far from Nellis Air Force Base, it's far from the most popular areas of Las Vegas that see the most tourism and the most shopping, the most local residents coming in, all that sort of stuff, guys. So as far as like a quiet, isolated, family-friendly city to live in, Henderson really ranks highly in the Las Vegas metro amongst all the other cities. So if you're looking for an area of the city that's quiet, it's isolated, doesn't have a lot of tourists, doesn't have a lot of plane noise, not a lot of hustle and bustle, that sort of thing, then you definitely want to be checking out Henderson, Nevada, because like I said, guys, that's going to be one of the best, quiet, family-friendly, out-of-the-way cities or areas in all of the Las Vegas metro. And we'll kind of break Henderson down into even smaller chunks later in the video. But just know, guys, that if you do want, more of that city living, but you also still want to be in Henderson, Henderson's divided into a lot of smaller different communities. So each one of those communities has a bit of a different vibe, a bit of a different feel, might be closer to business, might be farther to business, closer to the highway, farther to the highway. It really depends on the style of living that you want and that you're looking for, whether you have a family, whether you don't, and a bunch of other stuff, guys. Of course, that's all up to you. So just stay tuned a little farther in the video and we'll kind of talk about that. But just know there's a lot of different ways you can live in Henderson, but on the whole, it's going to be more isolated, more quiet than a lot of other areas in Las Vegas. So if that's what you're looking for, definitely consider Henderson, Nevada. Next pro, guys, just like pretty much every area of Las Vegas, or I'll say actually every area of Las Vegas or the Las Vegas metro, the weather is absolutely beautiful year around. Now, of course, we'll talk about this more in the cons a little bit, but you gotta like hot weather if you want to live near Las Vegas. It's a desert, literally part of the Mojave Desert, so it's hot year round. In the winter, expect like 50s, 60s, 70s. In the summer, definitely expect those hotter temperatures, 90s, 100s, maybe even 120 on some days. But the good news is it is a dry heat, and I know you've probably heard other people say that before. Oh, it's a dry heat, it's not a big deal. Let me tell you guys, 100 degrees, 115 degrees, it's still hot no matter whether it's a dry heat or it's humidity. However, if you're moving from part of the country, say upstate New York, Florida, maybe part of Texas, and you absolutely hate that humidity like I did because I moved out here from the East Coast, then you are gonna probably love the Las Vegas heat because there's absolutely no humidity, right? Hardly any clouds in the sky ever, beautiful blue skies, gorgeous nighttime temperatures, so you can go out, sit on your patio, you're not gonna freeze your butt off. And it's dependable, right? It's dependably beautiful, it's dependably sunny, it's dependably hot. if you like to get out and use your pool, and you really like that hot weather, you like those beautiful sunny days because you want to get out and sunbathe, it's dependable, guys. Las Vegas, the weather is dependable. It's almost always beautiful, sunny, and just an amazing place to live. So if that's what you're looking for, Henderson, just like every other area of the Las Vegas metro, is definitely going to offer that. But stay tuned, guys. If you want to learn more about the heat in the con section, we're actually going to talk a little bit about the heat there. But that'll be coming up a little later in the video. Next on the list, guys, is something, again, all of the areas of Las Vegas share, but actually the whole state of Nevada shares this, and that is Nevada does not have a state income tax. Now, there are 7 or 8, something like that, states in the country that don't have a state income tax. Maybe there's more, maybe there's less, depending on when you're watching this video. But if you're moving here from, say, California, I got a lot of California clients, or really clients from all over the country. Nevada is one of the most popular states to move to because of the cost of living. So if you're moving from a state that has a state income tax, say California, then you are gonna be amazed at how much money you're gonna put back in your pocket. California has something like a 13% state income tax, which I think is the highest in the country. So to go from 13% to 0%, because Nevada does not have a state income tax, you're gonna be amazed at how much money you put back in your pocket. So if you're like me, guys, and if you're like pretty much every other human being on the planet, and you want to see more money in your pocket instead of the government's pocket, then definitely consider moving to Nevada, but more specifically, consider moving to Henderson. It's not the cheapest place to live, it's not the most expensive, but you're gonna get so many different elements of just gorgeous living, that beautiful kind of living that you want in an absolute paradise that you can find in California or a few other states, but with no state income tax, lower cost of living all around. I just think you guys are going to put more money back in your pocket. But of course, that's up to you. So if you want a state with no state income tax and you hate paying taxes, then consider Nevada, and more specifically, consider Henderson, Nevada. Fourth on the list, guys, schools. Before we talk too much about schools, if you haven't already, please go down below, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, and please like this video because it really helps me in the YouTube algorithm. And that way you'll stay tuned to every single video that I put out. You'll get a little notice so that you can come back and watch that, especially if you're moving here, or even if you're living here, maybe you know someone else is moving here. I try to put out this information as often as I can, guys, so that everyone can really educate themselves and figure out where they want to live in the Las Vegas metro, because it's an amazing place to live. I love living here. And if you guys have any other further questions, comments about a video, you want to see something different, maybe you need some help, whatever the case may be, guys, all my contact information is down in the description, so feel free to reach out. And with that, let's talk about schools. So, according to greatschools.org and niche.com, which are 2 websites I highly recommend you check out. Plus, just talking to friends in the area who have kids that go to school in Henderson. Henderson has some of the highest ranked and most highly regarded schools in all of the Las Vegas metro. So maybe you're moving here with a couple kiddos. Maybe you're moving here with a really big family, so you have more than a couple kiddos. Maybe you're moving here just with your husband or wife, significant other, whatever the case may be, and you're thinking about starting a family and you want to be here for the long term. You want to be in a place with good schools for those kids. Henderson is an excellent place to live if you're looking for those good schools. Now, you'll probably hear from people that the schools in Nevada, aren't necessarily quote unquote the best. I mean, that means something different to everybody. On national rankings, I'm sure the state of Nevada doesn't rank #1, guys, but as far as schools go, Henderson has some of the best in the Las Vegas metro, probably some of the best in the state. So if it's really important to you to find an area with great schools, I highly recommend Henderson. Other areas I recommend would be like the Summerlin area, Green Valley Ranch area, and there's a few other areas in the city, guys. I have some videos on those other areas, so make sure you pop over to my channel, check out some of those other videos. If you have any questions or comments about schools, please send me an email, call, text, whatever you want. And guys, if you have kids or kids or whatever the case may be that go to those schools in Henderson, please pop down to the comments and kind of put a little blurb in there about what the kids think, what the parents think about the schools, because I'm always trying to learn as much as possible, and that's really going to help all the other viewers who watch this video and who are concerned about schools. But like I said, guys, the schools in Henderson are absolutely some of the best in the Las Vegas area, according to niche.com, according to Great Schools. and according to a few of the locals that I have talked to. So if you're looking for a place with great schools, definitely check out Henderson. Number 5 pro on the list, guys, we're talking easy outdoor access. Now, this really extends to, again, pretty much all areas of the Las Vegas metro because the state of Nevada, I don't know if you guys know this, is something like 85% public land. So that means the federal government kind of owns and manages that land. But as public land, you are pretty much free to use it for a variety of outdoor recreational activities, all sorts of stuff, camping, hiking, hunting. It varies depending on the exact location or the department that actually manages the land. But Nevada is mostly, by majority, public land. Henderson, like many cities in Nevada, has easy access to that public land. You're going to find extremely easy access to Lake Mead National Conservation Area. So if you like to fish, if you like to go boating, there's really no other area in and around Las Vegas that you're going to be able to do that really consistently and really easily. There are a few other small lakes and stuff that you can fish in the city of Las Vegas. There's Lake Las Vegas you can possibly do some boating on, but as far as like doing everything in one location, hiking, fishing, water sports, all that sort of stuff, Lake Mead National Conservation Area is going to be absolutely your best bet. And as a resident of Henderson, Lake Mead is just like 15 minutes away, maybe not even that far. It's going to depend on exactly where in Lake Mead, of course, you want to go, because Lake Mead's, it's huge. It's a national conservation area. But you're going to have super easy access. You're going to have a lot easier access than a lot of other areas of the city. I mean, a few minute drive versus like a 45-minute drive if you lived in the northwest of the city. Summerlin, probably see about a 40-minute drive, maybe 30-minute drive. North Las Vegas, again, you're going to see 30, 45-minute drive. So if you're really, into the outdoors, then Henderson is going to be a place to live, especially if you want to go boating. You also have Sloan Canyon, which is just south of Henderson, again, literally touching Henderson. So a ton more hiking opportunities, outdoor recreation, like driving your outdoor vehicle, that sort of thing. So you're really going to have easy access to all sorts of outdoor recreation in Henderson, just like you would in a lot of other areas of the city. But it really depends, like I said, on exactly the outdoor recreation that you like. If you really want to go boating and you really want to go often, then I highly recommend Henderson or Boulder City, or just the southeast of Las Vegas in general, because you're going to be much closer to Lake Mead. And like I said, there's really nowhere else you're going to be able to do that in the Las Vegas area. Number 6 pro, guys, in Henderson, you are going to find some of the most family friendly and family oriented elements of living in anywhere of Las Vegas. According to niche.com, and again, locals I've talked to who live there with families, they absolutely love it. The kiddos love it, and niche.com rates it one of the highest or best places to live with a family in the entire Las Vegas metro. So again, we already talked about schools and the fact that they're rated really well and people enjoy them. That's what I hear. Please look it up for yourself. Don't take my word for it. That's all publicly available information. So according to that, the schools are phenomenal. According to people I talk to, the schools are great. The kids love them. And according to niche.com, again, Henderson, or the city of Henderson, is one of the most family-oriented, family-friendly cities in all of the Las Vegas metro. And that's really because there's so many different neighborhoods that offer that close, tight-knit vibe, where people know their neighbors. There's community events, HOA events, people interact with each other, you have fun. There's a lot of kids around, kids in different neighborhoods. So, you want to get your kids outside, playing with other kids, get them socialized, that sort of thing. I totally understand that because I have kids, and that's, it's something we're trying to do with ours. So if that's what you're looking for, you want the great schools, you want the other kids around, you want that family-oriented, close, tight-knit community elements, then you need to be checking out Henderson, Nevada, because that's not something you're going to find in every area of the city. You're only going to find that mix of elements in a few different parts of the city. So when you're doing your research, make sure you reach out to me, guys. Depending on what's important to you, I can kind of help you decide which area of the city you want to live in. But as far as schools combined with family-oriented, like community living, Henderson, Nevada really ranks highly in the Las Vegas metro area. So I definitely recommend you check it out. Finally, guys, number 7 pro, Henderson. If you're looking to buy a home in Henderson, you're going to be looking at a wide variety of homes from, the most affordable, like first-time home buyer homes and like the $300,000 range, all the way up into those luxury $1 million homes at Lake Las Vegas, Henderson has your back. Henderson is divided into a ton of different communities. I'll probably throw a photo up right now that'll talk about or just show you like all the different communities that Henderson is divided into. And like I said, each one has a little different price point, a little bit different design of home, yard size, the age of the home. There's some places in Henderson where you're still building brand new homes. So if you're looking for an absolute brand new home, you want to buy the lot, you want to design it, you want to build it from scratch, all that sort of stuff. And Henderson, again, is another great place in the Las Vegas metro for you to check out. But overall, like I said, Henderson offers a wide variety of living, no matter what kind of home you're looking for, no matter what kind of design of home you're looking for, style, layout, beds and baths. You want a 5-bedroom, 6-bedroom home, you can find that in Henderson. You want a 2-bedroom home, you can find it in Henderson. You want a brand new home, you can find it. You want an old home, you can find it. No HOA, you can find it. It really just depends on what you want, guys, but it's one of the most diverse areas of the city. So if you're really looking for a home, or maybe you're undecided, right, guys? Henderson would be great if you're undecided. You kind of want to see a lot of variety of homes, a lot of different age class of homes, style, model, all that sort of thing. And Henderson would be a phenomenal place for you to look at. So if that's what you're looking for, just reach out to me, guys. I'll get you some more information. All right, guys, the moment you've been waiting for. Now we're going to start on the cons of living in Henderson, Nevada. Now, kind of talked about this as a pro earlier on in the video, but the heat. A lot of people will find the heat as a con, and that's because it gets stupid hot in Las Vegas. And we'll specifically talk about Henderson. I mean, that's what the video is about, but Henderson, since it's close to Lake Mead, is one of the lowest elevation parts of the Las Vegas metro. All the water really drains from the northwest to the southeast and drains that way towards Lake Mead, a good majority of it. So as one of the lowest parts of the valley, you are going to have even hotter temperatures than they say Summerlin, say the Northwest, say North Las Vegas, all these places that are a little bit higher in elevation. Now, the elevation change isn't super significant, but I've heard from a ton of people that you do get a few degree difference in heat, and that can mean a lot to a lot of people, depending on your health, depending on how much you even enjoy the heat, or if you like the humidity, or maybe you don't like the humidity. Like I said earlier, Las Vegas really doesn't have humid heat, but maybe you want humid heat, maybe you don't. I mean, that's really up to you guys. But if you're worried about the heat, if you don't love the heat, if you want to live in a place that, if you want to live in a part of Las Vegas that's still dependably hot, dependably has beautiful weather, then I would recommend like the Northwest or Summerlin. Or if you don't mind that extra heat, then Henderson is a great place to go. But it's just something to consider when you're moving out here, guys. You are really going to have to get used to the heat. It was an adjustment period for me because I'm born and raised in the Northeast. So it was an adjustment for me to get used to the heat, but I got used to it and now I love it. And I'm sure you can probably get used to it as well, but it's definitely not for everyone. So consider that before you move to Henderson, Nevada. Next on the list, guys, Henderson is not the cheapest area of the city to live in, or cheapest area in the Las Vegas metro to live in. According to bestplaces.org, the cost of living index, which is put out by the federal government, is about a 117. So that makes it about 17% higher overall expensive to live in Henderson versus the rest of the country. So about 17% higher. But specifically, the housing index number that the federal government puts out is about a 141. So as far as housing prices go, you're going to be looking at about a 41% increase over the national average for housing prices. Now, again, Henderson has a lot of different neighborhoods, a lot of different areas, a lot of different housing types, models, all that stuff we already kind of talked about. So I'm not saying that you can't find a budget home in Henderson, that you won't be able to find affordable home within your budget for the beds and baths that you want. I'm not saying that at all, because I'm sure I can help you find exactly what you want. But if you're coming here on an extreme budget, you really want to be looking for like the absolute most affordable home in the area, then you're going to want to look at places like North Las Vegas, maybe some places that are more centralized in the Las Vegas metro, maybe Sunset Manor, or a few other areas of Las Vegas. Now, some of those places I have videos on, some of them I don't. But like I talked about North Las Vegas, I do have a few videos on North Las Vegas. So please go check those out, get some information. If you're looking for the most affordable, most budget-friendly homes in the Las Vegas metro, you may find them in Henderson, you may not. But like I said, on average, overall, Henderson is going to be a little bit more expensive than some areas in the Las Vegas metro. However, it is not the most expensive area of the metro. So it's not the most expensive, it's not the least expensive, it's just somewhere in the middle. So consider that when you're moving to Henderson, Nevada. Third con, guys, is going to be the drive and transportation times. Before we talk about that, if you haven't already, please go down, like this video, subscribe, and smash that notification bell so you're notified every single time I put out a new video. All right, drive times. So I showed earlier how Henderson is in the far southeast of the Las Vegas metro. That means, guys, that you are going to have a long drive to a lot of other areas of the city. I mean, 30, 45 minutes to Summerlin, depending on traffic. 30, 45 minutes to North Las Vegas, depending on traffic. Same thing to the northwest, maybe 20, 30 minutes drive to like the Mountain's Edge area, 20, 25 to Green Valley area. So depending on where you work and where you live in Henderson, you're going to be looking at more drive times and you're going to be looking at traffic. Now, I've lived here for a long time, guys. I'd like to think that I have the traffic pretty well figured out. And I'll tell you right now, if you're leaving Henderson at like the peak morning traffic hours of the day and you're heading north on 95, you are going to get slammed with traffic. I can almost guarantee you're going to get into some kind of traffic jam somewhere along the way, depending on how far you're going. And I don't want to see that happen to anyone. So if you're thinking about moving to the metro, please reach out to me. If you know where you're going to be working, perfect. If not, that's fine too. We'll try to kind of get an idea of where you're going to be working, where you want to live. We can plan out some of that traffic, some of your routes to try to figure out where's the traffic going to be, what time is the traffic going to be there, all that sort of stuff, guys. I don't want to see anyone get stuck in traffic. People moving from LA or something might say, oh yeah, Las Vegas doesn't really have traffic. Yeah, our traffic's not as bad as like a Los Angeles or other cities that are even larger than Las Vegas. But I can tell you guys from experience, from talking to people, from talking to friends, and from getting stuck in traffic a ton of times myself, we do have traffic. And if you live in Henderson or some other part of the city, you're driving to work every day and you're getting stuck in traffic for 30 or 45 or an hour, or maybe it's 45 minutes each way, you are really going to be upset. You're going to be losing an hour and a half, 2 hours of your day to traffic. And time is everyone's most valuable resource, guys. So I don't want to see anyone get stuck in traffic. I don't want to see anybody get road rage or anything like that. So please reach out to me and really consider. This is really important, guys. Really consider where you're living and where you're working and how that traffic is going to affect you, because it can really ruin your day. And I mean, I've seen it really just like ruin people's moods every single day because of how bad the traffic can be. So just keep that in mind. Traffic is probably going to happen if you live in Henderson, Nevada. Fourth on the cons list, guys, is going to be the limited entertainment and restaurants, that sort of thing. It's not as limited as maybe some other areas of the city. However, being that Henderson sits away from Las Vegas, and since it has a much smaller population than Las Vegas, you know, no strip, it is quiet and isolated, not as many tourists, all that sort of stuff. There aren't as many restaurants, there aren't as many businesses, and that's just really the way it is. There's no change in that. If that's something you can't deal with, then you're definitely going to want to live, you know, closer to Las Vegas proper, you know, maybe in Summerlin, maybe in parts of Spring Valley or Mountain's Edge, or just some other parts with more restaurants, more businesses, more entertainment availability, maybe a little closer to the strip, because you're really not going to find that in Henderson. But honestly, guys, that's just not why people move to Henderson. People move to Henderson because it's quiet, because it's isolated, family oriented. It's out of the way. You don't get a lot of tourists. You don't get a lot of local residents from other part of the city driving into Henderson to go shopping and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure I really see that as a con, but if you do like going out often, then Henderson might not be the place for you, but maybe it will be, right? If you don't mind the little bit longer drive to, say, the Strip, then Henderson could totally be the place for you, because you're going to have that nice quiet neighborhood, and then you're going to go out, do what you want to do, get some entertainment, and be able to come back to that nice quiet neighborhood and just stay isolated from all that hustle and bustle. Same thing on your job. You're going to stay isolated from that job, be able to decompress, all that sort of stuff. So just consider that if you're moving to Henderson. You might have a little less nightlife, a little less entertainment, restaurants, and that sort of thing to go around. Fifth on the list, guys, I know we already talked about outdoor recreation as far as Lake Mead and Sloan Canyon, but we're going to talk about two other areas, namely Red Rock National Conservation Area and Mount Charleston, or just the Spring Mountains in general. So those are other two extremely popular places to go hunt, fish, hike, drive your off-road vehicles like your ATVs, motorcycles, all that sort of stuff, and as well as like run, bike, everything. Those are extremely popular places. I go to Mount Charleston all the time on hikes, Red Rock pretty frequently. So if those are areas that you really want to frequent, maybe you live in Las Vegas already and you really frequent those areas, or maybe you're moving here from out of state and you already know, hey, I've been to these areas, I like these areas, or I want to start hanging out in these areas as soon as I get to the city, you might want to consider living a little bit closer to the Summerlin area, a little bit closer to the northwest of the city, simply because you're going to be looking at long drive times from Henderson to Mount Charleston. Henderson to Mount Charleston, easily you're going to be looking at an hour drive time, maybe a little bit further, a little bit longer depending on traffic. Red Rock, again, probably like 30, 45 minutes of drive time, again, depending on traffic. So if you really want to frequent those areas, or maybe you work in those areas, maybe you're a park ranger or something like that, maybe you work for the Forest Service, you definitely might want to think moving a little bit closer. There are definitely other areas of the city that are quiet, family oriented, that have a very similar vibe to Henderson, that aren't an hour away from Mount Charleston, that aren't 45 minutes away from Red Rock. So just consider that when you move into Henderson, you are going to be not losing access to other outdoor activities, but you're going to be putting yourself farther away from some of those most popular outdoor recreation areas in favor of Sloan Canyon and Lake Mead. Finally, guys, the last con we're going to talk about are limited employment options. So we kind of talked about this already with restaurant and entertainment, but since Henderson is a smaller city, definitely more suburban, more rural, you're going to find less businesses, find less restaurants, find less entertainments, but also you're just going to find less employment opportunities in general. Now, I know there was some manufacturing jobs and like that stuff down in Henderson, but I'm pretty sure COVID kind of hit hard and, took some of those jobs away, unfortunately. And I saw that in a lot of areas of Las Vegas. But luckily, we're on the rebound. We're recovering from COVID. Las Vegas is doing great. In fact, the state of Nevada is doing great. But it's really important to you to work in the area that you live. You are definitely going to want to do your research ahead of time. If you don't already have a job in Henderson, do your research ahead of time. Maybe you're moving here with a college degree, or maybe you're not. It doesn't really matter, but just do that research to find out the employers in the area, who's hiring, who's not, what kind of businesses are there. Maybe you want to start your own business, so it's important to you to find open commercial area for you to maybe build a business or lease a space and move into a space, move into a building that already exists. You can definitely do that in Henderson, definitely possibility, but with lower population, lower entertainment, less business, all that sort of stuff, you're going to find fewer jobs than you would in some other parts of Las Vegas. But you got to take that with the other pros and cons, guys. I know people who live in Henderson and work, close to North Las Vegas simply because they don't really care about the drive, but they want, like I said, that family-friendly, very quiet, very isolated, great school style community. And they don't mind the drive. They don't mind driving to work or anything like that. So just consider that, guys. If you're moving to Henderson and you don't have a job, but you really want to live, within 15 minutes, you really want to work within 15 minutes of where you live, Henderson might not be the best area, but also reach out to me and I can kind of help you with that. There's probably some other videos popping up on the screen, guys. If you're interested in other areas of the city like North Las Vegas, Summerlin, Green Valley, please check out the videos that I have out already. And I'm always putting out new videos every single week. So please go down below, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified every single time I put out a new video. And with that, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day and stay tuned for more content.